Well, good evening, and thanks for joining us as always here on Speed Racing Network. I'm Greg Olenek, joined by Brandon Domain, and we're kicking off night number 3 here in Week 18, the second race of the round of 10, kicking off here at the Tricky Triangle. Brandon, we started off at a short track this week in Cup, and then went to a 2-mile oval last night, and just when you think the tracks can't get any bigger, we go to a 2.5-mile triangle. Not oval, I almost said oval. Triangle.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's you pretty much add Iowa and Auto Club from the past 2 nights, and you're just about the same size as this Pocono Raceway. 2.5 miles, 3 completely different turns. And you talk about this week, I'm going to get this out there early. We've had some history this week that we kind of missed the past couple of nights.
Do this.
No. I wanted to do this right out of the top because there's another person involved in this. But the last 2 nights, we've had history, Triple Crown winners, if you will. Truck win, Xfinity win, Cup Series win. 2 times that's ever happened, and it's happened in the past 2 nights. Brad Herman on Tuesday, and the man virtually to my left last night, Greg Olenek, doing so. So a bit of history we kind of missed there the past couple nights. Wanted to get that out there. So congratulations on the win and that little nugget there from the past few seasons, but also last night.
Man, you're going to make everybody hate me. I really didn't have him do that. I was just going to move on, got the win, and just head on to the Quaker State 150. I appreciate it, and thanks a lot. But, yeah, we got a big race here tonight, and like you said, this field is really tight here in the Xfinity Series, known as the Silverback Tax Series. So let's take a look at the points, and there you see Austin Reedy with the win last week out at Chicagoland Speedway. 3 wins to his name already. Has a good 14-point cushion coming into this week. But the man, everybody watching, Joshua Balliet, who had one of the best regular seasons. I can't remember if he won it. I think Jacob Manning won the regular season title, but Balliet was right in that mix too. Finds himself on the cut line with some big names behind him. Seth Reed, Joby Ray, and Adrian Schumacher really all within striking distance. Not sure if Max Service is going to be able to make up that ground tonight.
It's amazing when you look at that cut line. That's P1 and P2 in the first round of the Silverback Tax playoff here in these Xfinity cars. They're sitting 6 points apart with that yellow line separating the two of them. And for Joshua Balliet, he can't do much more than he's done. He's got the best average finish of everybody in the playoff field at 2.8 over the past 4 races, and he's still sitting 1 spot above that cut line.
Yeah, so like we've seen all week, we're definitely paying attention to those round of 10 standings, but we're also keeping an eye on the team championship taking place starting off this week. The Xfinity guys going to have their first match here at Pocono Raceway, and I was licking my chops in practice because there's a lot of, well, in my scoring, Brandon, you saw I have blue for JW and gray for Tank Racing. A lot of blue and gray at the top of my standings. That means we are going to have a tight match here tonight between these two.
Yeah, and I think that's as expected when you look at these two. The records are about the same. You look at the comparing from one driver to the next, going left to right, and there's a little bit of an advantage for a couple sides on Tank, a little bit of an advantage for a couple of those lines on JW Racing. This is as level of a championship match as we can find.
Yeah, I'm going to have to talk to Nick Holiday again and lower that average a little bit here. I'm always riding him. He's going to have a good run here tonight. I can feel it in that 54 machine. But that's not all we're watching. The 3-4 matchup. They got some money on the line, too, in this best-of-3 format. Murray Reedy Motorsports going up against Phoenix Virtual Racing, a 10-6-1 team going up against a 9-8 team. And like you said, pretty close from driver to driver. Both teams fielding 5 drivers out there. Not seeing Siegfried here lately because he has taken on a new job, so they're going to be a little short-handed for Phoenix Virtual Racing. Not seeing, looks like Daniel Bowdler out there tonight either, so only 3 drivers in the field for Phoenix Virtual Racing. Murray Reedy Motorsports also with 3 as well. Austin Reedy, Tyler Murray, and Craig Lotzlager out there.
Yeah, and I think you also look at, we've got 3 out of the 6 drivers are playoff drivers on the individual side as well, so a whole lot going into this third place matchup. Also, not just that championship matchup, obviously a lot on the line there, but here a lot on the line in many different ways for these drivers.
Yeah, so that is kicking off this week. They'll have Auto Club next week in Las Vegas to sort it out, best of 3. So the first 1 to 2 going to take third as well as first in that first place matchup. So let's head on out there. Looks like the guys are starting to grid up here in the Silverback Series out there. Beautiful day in the virtual Pocono Raceway, Long Pond, PA. And Seth Reed, he's really thinking it's beautiful today because he's going to get Clean racetrack, qualifying on the pole with a time of 54.795. His teammate Jacob Manning there, 0.004 of a second off his time. So those two looking like they are going to be fast here tonight. Well, why not add another JW car there in third, Josh Susi, and then Max Service at Tank Racing. So that team championship staring you right in the face here in the first two rows.
Yeah, and let's kind of extend it a little bit farther. You got Adrian Schumacher for Tank Racing. He'll be starting in position 5. Always a threat. He's gotten better and better at these ovals, and this is the style of oval that really suits a road racer as well. Logan Truitt has put together some good results, even though he's been knocked out of the playoff. He'll be starting in position number 6. And then in 7th, another Tank Racing driver with Vincent Cortez on the inside of row number 4. Austin Reedy, the points leader coming into tonight's race on the outside of the row.
And Lucas Lyons, he'll be in 9th. Had a great run last night in the trucks, getting the top 3. Jackson Wade there in 10th. Devin Zimmerman, he's going to be 11th for Tank Racing as well. And Nathan De La Rosa in 12th place outside of row 6. Huge track here, Brandon. We can go through the rest of this field with 24 cars in the field tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. We got plenty of time. They're just now leaving their lineup on pit road. Nick Halda will be in position number 13, and their team championship rivals in Tank Racing also on row number 7 with Joshua Balliet. Row number 8 will be Jonathan Byer out of Jonathan Byer Racing, and Jeremy Little for Phoenix Virtual Racing.
And Logan Joyner there in 17th. Tyler Murray, Murray Reedy Motorsports right there. So there's that 3-4 matchup getting off to a good start, too. He's going to be in 18th. Michael Larch, 19th, with Craig Lautenslager in 20th.
And the final 2 rows of cars will be Cole Martin and Jovi Ray making up row number 11. Jovi with a lot of work to do to make up some ground there from that starting spot. Bo Tiffany and Jack Johnson will be bringing up the rear of the field in this field of 24.
All right. So, Brandon, I know this is your favorite part of the race lately. You got to get to it. We got a lot of time to kill here before they get around and get this thing kicked off. So I got to ask, who you got?
All right, so for the last 5 races, the driver I've picked was the biggest part of the first caution. I've got somebody that volunteered as tribute, and I'm going to take him up on it. I'm going with the old school bus over there, Devin Zimmerman, in that 93 car. He said he's been sick much of the week. I don't know if that means he's expecting maybe he's going to break that curse or maybe anything there, but I think that school bus, we'll go with that one tonight.
That's a cool little paint scheme. I like it. Good look there, Devin, and good pick. I mean, why not? He can go out there and get a win week in, week out. I'm taking the 96, Austin Reedy. He said this is one of his favorite tracks here. I'm going to believe him. I'm going to take the 96 here tonight with the 14-point cushion. He's going to be feeling good after that win last week. Pace car going to peel off down pit road, and the field going to be in the hands of Seth Reed. Green flag waving here at Pocono. Bear with me, Brandon. They're going to get here. This is how long this front straightaway is, and finally making it on by.
Over a mile to get down that straightaway all the way from turn 3 down to turn number 1, and then they're going to fan out. You saw 3 wide, 4 wide getting into turn number 1. They are going to make it work through turn 1, but the trickiest part of the tricky triangle coming up here, this turn modeled after Indianapolis, the 8-degree banking tunnel turn, tightest turn on the racetrack.
Yeah, you're going to see some cars slipping and sliding right here because on cold tires. This track, not a fun one. Saw a lot of guys spinning, especially here coming out of 3. So we'll see just how aggressive everybody gets here coming through. Got a dinger cam here at Pocono Raceway. Always loving that. And this is the tricky part of the track right here. We'll see if anybody gets loose. Looks like they're all going to handle it here for the time being. Josh Susi right on the bumper of his teammate.
And it's Seth Reed. This has been his playground the past couple of seasons since SRN started coming here in season number 2. Nobody has led more laps than him. In fact, he led 43 in season number 2 out of 60 laps, 44 in season number 3 out of that same 60 laps. Got a second in the first race, a win last season. This has been all about Seth Reed here in Pocono.
And I'm not taking my eyes off that pink 53 either. We got, 3 JW cars out in front right now, but out of all 3 of them, I would say Susi has been kind of the most impressive here of late, and that's saying a lot. He's been running up towards the front here, kind of peaking at the right time. We'll see how long he decides to ride behind his teammate here, Seth Reed, as they come off a 3 to complete the second lap of this race here for the Quaker State 150. Someone in the wall back there thinking that was Craig Lautenslager.
And as they come by the line, yeah, that was the 99 there, Craig Lautenslager, that the old Carl Edwards Aflac-looking car there. Always a nice little paint scheme, but yeah, it looks like he caught the wall a bit. Also saw Nick Halda. He's down on pit road. I believe he's the one. I heard a little bit of a tire spin there, and maybe a spin out as well, going out of turn number 1. And I believe that's the
Ooh.
case. Oh yeah, big time damage to the left rear of that 54 car.
So Nick Halda bringing it down pit lane here. Here's Joshua Balliet already up 3 spots, putting the slide job on the 68 of Nathan De La Rosa. He gets it done, moves up to 11th. This is the guy that is 6 points below the cut line. Logan Joyner also still in the playoffs, but he is going to be hard-pressed to move on here with 24 cars in the field here tonight. So he's just going out there for, that third-place team matchup that Phoenix Virtual Racing's in, as well as maybe a little bit of pride, too. He wants to get that win here this season.
And hey, we've seen weirder things happen. I mean, you're looking at that 28-point gap for Logan Joyner to make up. He's going to have to pass 5 drivers in the process as well to get above that cut line, but still 2 races of opportunity to do that. You can make up about 15, 16 points here tonight. All of a sudden, you're right back in that ball game going to Auto Club next week.
So riding on board here, the view from 11th. You can see the leaders going into 2 right now. So Balliet just kind of buckling in here. Oh, someone gets really loose. That's Lucas Lyons just in front of him. Gave me a little bit of anxiety there. Thought he might have been taking a turn there. You can see how that kills the momentum going down towards turn number 3 as Jackson Wade takes a look to the inside.
Well, Lucas wanted to go fast. He might have gone a little too fast there in that tunnel turn last time by getting all squirrely. And
got Tina on the hood.
Yeah, he's got that good run though out of turn 3 on that outside line. That was really able to power through, and I think he also had the toe there off of Vincent Cortez just in front of him. That gave him the edge to hold on to that position over Jackson Wade, who last week he even said it himself, first time top 10 away from the super speedway this season, trying to keep that momentum going there in that 69 car.
I think that the Panther's name is Tina. I can't remember. It's been a long time since I've watched that movie, but great car.
I was just going right by it because I forgot myself. So.
Yeah, great car though. Kind of reminds me of my high school years when that movie came out. So making me feel old a little bit now. As we see them approach turn 3, set 3 still leading the way, but there you see from Vincent Cortez on back. Oy.
Yeah, we got that little bit of a gap there from Reedy to Cortez, and then all of a sudden there's the scatter, and that's what you're going to see here at this racetrack, especially early on. You're going to see a lot of pack racing, the draft ultra powerful around here with the length of these straightaways. Obviously, you can make that mistake. It doesn't take much to mess up a turn, but as long as you get the exit right, you can stick with that pack pretty well.
So thanks for joining us here tonight. I know there is a lot going on out there in the TV world with the Sweet 16 kicking off here, but we got our own version of kind of the Sweet 16. It's the Sweet 15 or whatever you want to call it here, but we got some position places to sort out here. This is the thick of it, like you said, Cortez. He's listed there in the green on the tower right now in 7th. That indicating you are above the cut line. Those drivers in orange sitting outside looking in, and they got Auto Club next week, and I'm a big fan of that track right now. A lot different for these Xfinity cars here with the low downforce in these B-Class cars. They're going to have their hands full. 2 big 2.5 mile ovals, whatever. I know it's a triangle, but 2 big racetracks for these guys. Not everybody's forte, so we're going to really see some comers and goers possibly in the points.
Yeah, this has been a really interesting way that through the playoffs. I mean, you look at the last round of road course, a 1 mile track in Phoenix, and then you had the 1.5 mile at Texas. Last week, we started this round with Chicagoland, a 1.5 mile tri-oval, and now Pocono, the oddest oval that you'll ever find on the NASCAR circuit. And then we go to Auto Club, a pretty traditional 2 mile, and then Vegas, a traditional 1.5 mile cookie cutter. So we've kind of went through all the awkwardness up until tonight. Now we get back to it, but a lot more traditional tracks that these drivers are used to here in the playoff, as opposed to the regular season where we threw a lot of curveballs at these guys. And it's kind of shaken up the point standings a little bit, where we've seen some of these guys, one hard up into the wall there coming out of turn 3. I believe that was Jeremy Little, but we've seen this run all of a sudden now where some of the guys that maybe didn't love those tracks are starting to heat up here as these playoffs get going.
And a big problem right now, you can see it on the tower, and we see it week in and week out. Adrian Schumacher experiencing some difficulties with connection. He should be that 4th place car, but he's not even out there right now. And there he goes back there again. That is a big time blink that the admins are going to be paying attention to. One of those drivers on the outside looking in. Schumacher 16 points back. He can easily take this race here today and find himself inside that cut line if everything works out right. But that is troubling right now if you're in that 82 machine.
Yeah, and actually, as you bring that up, there's a lot of radio chatter right now towards Adrian in that 82 car, letting him know about that situation and what's going to be expected here if it continues. They kind of give him a little bit of leeway as there wasn't many people around him at that time, but they're starting to close in as Jovi Ray down on the pit road. Yeah,
we talked to Jovi a little bit earlier. He's got some heavy damage on the front end of that 24 machine already. He was not looking forward to tonight's race whatsoever. Kind of an indication early on that it's not going too well. Big time damage on the 24 machine.
And I tell you what, when you see the damage on the nose, we saw the damage on the rear of Nick Halda's 54 car. Kind of makes you wonder if maybe we found the other part of that equation there. And as I say, that radio chatter going on, there's a little bit of communication to Adrian Schumacher. Time to start bringing that thing back through the pack.
Oh, you know he does not want to do that, but he's been in this boat before. Luckily, I think he might be able to get in behind Austin Reedy since there's some trouble or some distance. But, I mean, you can see it on your camera or your picture right now. He was just gone for a good 5 seconds and gone again as Reedy making the move past Max Service back here.
And that's a very nice move, actually, there from Austin Reedy. But the trouble with the blinking there, and this is for Adrian, this is for anybody that's going to be blinking at a track like this, that front straightaway, you're going to be seeing 4 wide, 5 wide, especially when we get to those restarts. A lot of passing opportunities with how much space is out there. You get into that traffic with the power of the draft, with how everything is going into turn 1, all those different entry points. It's just a mess with somebody around that car that's blinking, just trying to figure out where that car is going to be at the same time. Nightmare situation at a track like this.
Yeah, and you got to also consider, too, for a driver, it's just incredibly distracting. It sounds kind of diva-ish, but you're trying to focus out here, and you got a car blinking. That's another thing to take into account, too. It can really kill your spots. And, man, speaking of that, Craig Lotslager into the wall. Seen a few guys have that trouble here. It gets really tight off of turn number 3. We can take a lap on board with one of these guys and show you exactly. It seems like a huge track, but you get so much going out of 3, you can easily overstep.
You saw a good view of that actually a little bit there on that overstep. Balliet able to maintain it. But as he got around Jackson Wade, he really drove it in deep into that turn and nearly overshot it, had to let out, but he does keep it at that position as they hit that tunnel turn. Just 8 degrees there. It feels so much steeper, just the way that you kind of sink into the low end of that turn. But it is modeled after Indianapolis. Very quick turn here. This one, a long sweeping left, the longest turn around here, only 6 degrees. Modeled after the Milwaukee Mile. This is where they're going to hit their lowest speeds, 140 miles an hour at best going around there. And you mentioned how tight it is coming off of that turn, especially when you get that dirty air off a car in front of you. That pull from the draft, it makes it so easy to accelerate through there. That wall comes up so quick and the air's all disturbed there. Real tough situation. You get about that same speed here in turn number 1, highest banked, but it's still a pretty long sweeping turn. Just there's no comfortable turn here. They're all pretty awkward. You're just hoping on a good day you get 2 of them down every single lap. A great day is when you get 3 of these turns figured out.
Yeah, it's kind of just watching them. You could tell. You can see Balliet stepping out right there too. It's almost like driving on ice going through turns 2 and 3 in these cars. I mean, you can see the input from the wheel that Jackson's giving us right here. On the exit, he's going to have that thing essentially straight, and the car is still just going to be turning itself with how yawed out it is coming out of 3 here. So it's not an easy track. Seems easy, and in some cars it is, but in the B-Class Xfinity cars, not the case.
Yeah, this is obviously a love-hate racetrack. I'm kind of one of the weird ones. I love this racetrack, but there's not many of us that do, and I have a feeling Seth Reed is one of the other ones that loves this racetrack, as now he's at 13 or 12 laps led here today. That's going to put him at 99 now. If he crosses the line here, that's 100 out of 113 laps here in SRN in the Xfinity cars at Pocono that he'll be out in front as Jacob Manning, speaking of out in front, he's going to make that look to the inside, going for second place on Joshua Susi. And it's still going to be JW 1, 2, 3, but the order changing up now a bit.
Yeah, looking like that 50 car coming to life here. I believe we're just... Brandon, you might know better than me. Is this a one-stop race for these guys? It's a 60 lap, or I know it's got to be close.
It's very close. It's I think if you're the lead car, not necessarily going to be a one-stop race. That's a tough position to be in. You're going to be about 2 or 3 laps short the way I was calculating it out. Now, of course, there's going to be some tire wear that slows up the cars, give you a little bit less throttle time. The draft is going to be a huge factor as well. And with the way that these straightaways are, the way that these turns are, as we see Austin Reedy taking a look to the inside for third going into the tunnel turn.
To do it.
Yeah, he's maybe keep the nose there, still going into 3. I don't know. He's going to have to make a dive here, but with the draft, with the way that you can really let off the throttle here, you can save a couple laps of fuel pretty easily around this track, despite the size of it. But I think if you're Seth Reed in that lead car, you're banking on a caution coming out to save you a little bit because he's in the toughest spot trying to save any fuel.
So, yeah, that gap staying around 1 second between him. I see Logan Joyner going in back there. One of the benefits of this just long straightaway, possibly the longest straightaway in NASCAR, I believe. You can see all the way down it. You can see Logan Joyner taking his pit stop, so he's knocking that thing out. Maybe we're going to see some strategery here tonight, Brandon. We've seen it kind of here a lot since the playoffs kicked off, which, I mean, you gotta do it. You got to use these strategies sometimes when you don't have the fastest car, and sometimes you got to swallow that pride and just admit you don't have the fastest car. So some of these guys going to maybe do something a little different here.
And I tell you what, this is a very unique racetrack in the fact that you can make a pit stop, and as long as you keep it, you do a good run in, a good run out, and a quick pit stop, you very well may not lose a lap. You can stay on that lead lap despite making a pit stop under green. So that kind of opens up the playbook a little bit and trying to do some of those strategies. Obviously, you're losing a ton of time, but the fall off isn't as significant as you would imagine it would be on a track like this. But again, you're staying on the lead lap. A caution comes out, you're going to be right back out in front if it comes out in the right time.
So we'll see how it works out. Always can kind of test the limits on strategy when you don't have a threat of going a lap down, as we see Max Service working on Josh Susi right now. They're going to go side by side into turn number 2, that tunnel turn, a very hard turn to go side by side. So they're going to go ahead, and Susi not giving up anything. He's going to get real tight out of 2. Got to be careful. He keeps it off the wall and still hanging in there with Max Service.
Yeah, this is good, hard, but clean racing. You saw the amount of space that they were giving each other. Almost so much space that Susi put himself in a little trouble. Maybe didn't think that Service was going to give him as much room as he did. But Service does complete that pass, going out of turn number 3. See if there's maybe a little rubber banding here from Susi, but he's going to stay in line. Maybe try to save a little bit more fuel by staying so close there. As Vincent Cortez now taking a look to the inside, trying to make that same pass that his teammate Max Service did a lap ago.
Keep in mind, this is the battle for the team championship. We got a Tank Racing driver going by JW, now another Tank Racing driver going by JW. That's a big point swing when you think about the points at the end of the day. And don't look now, just behind them, Joshua Balliet coming into the fray too. He's moved up 6 spots up to 8th.
Oh, yeah, so, hello.
Susi gets a contact there from Vincent Cortez, I believe.
Yeah, if it wasn't contact, he just got way out of the groove, and it was very close. Maybe just got thrown off on the line a little bit, but that was kind of hard to tell from that angle. But either way, very dicey moment there for that 53. And right now we're looking at JW 1st, 2nd, and 7th. Tank 4th, 5th, and 8th. This is getting tight here.
Yep, and don't forget the bonus points, too, right now with 2 JW cars out in front. They're kind of controlling those bonus points right now, and if Seth Reed just keeps on leading here, he's going to get that extra point for most laps led here tonight. I mean, he's already got the pole point locked up. Can really secure the bag here if they can maybe get Jacob Manning out in front too. We had a battle with them last night, and obviously hindsight's 20/20, but I kind of wish I would have let my teammate Kevin Asanio by for a lap to maybe lead out there to get an extra point, because it matters in the end.
Yeah, and I mean, shoot, it feels like a broken record. In the Cup side, we had a battle with JW in the 3-4 matchup as well. So they're one of two teams that has a team in the playoff in every single level. They've done a tremendous job. They know the strategy game inside and out. I think this is going to be an interesting point, by the way, now as we hit lap number 19. If this is going to be a two-stop race, we might be seeing Seth Reed come in the next couple of laps here. So keep an eye on that. Another thing to keep an eye on is we see Lucas Lyons coming down pit road. That might be an indicator that we does have some damage there on the right side. But look at those names there highlighted in orange on the left side of the screen on that pylon. 21st, Logan Joyner. He pitted from far enough back that he is a lap down now in 21st. Adrian Schumacher just now reconnected 7 laps down. Jovi Ray dropped out of the race 9 laps down. Looks like he'll be in last. But what that does, Seth Reed leading from 6 points out. Joshua Balliet sitting in 8th. And I know he's moving through the field. It's going to get a little bit tougher here. The way the points are playing out right now, we might be seeing one of the top drivers all season behind that cut line if this race were to end right now.
Yeah, heading into Auto Club next week. So starting to seem like it's getting a little bit spread out behind them. You got Reedy about 8 to 9 tenths back of this lead pack, and then another second back, you find Max Service, and then another about half second back, Vincent Cortez. So starting to get a little strung out here. This thing could very well stay green all the way to the end here, but I think we're about to see those pit stops pick up. I think that window is going to be open. I think this is going to be a two-stop race here regardless of track position.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a couple guys that maybe take that home run cut at trying to save some fuel and maybe stretching this thing into a one-stop race. I think if you're in the playoffs, as now we got Joshua Balliet, this for 7th, taking a look to the inside of Joshua Susi. And sounds like we're going to have some more pit stops coming. I see that radio kind of lighten up a little bit here. So we may see some cars come down. Is Joshua Susi going to be one of them? So he's going to come down pit road.
See that damage on the
we'll have
right
a couple
rear.
Others. Yeah, he caught the wall at some point, or he caught a car at some point. That's right at the back end. Jackson Wade having a solid run tonight. He's going to come down pit road as well. So those are going to be the two takers this time, but that's going to be a big indicator that everybody's kind of seeing this as possibly a two-stopper.
Yeah, so if it's me out there, I'm staying out as long as possible just to see if you do get lucky. I mean, get a caution out here. So we're going to see that strategy also being played as well here. And I have to imagine we might see those tank cars stay out the longest because they want to cycle out and get to lead some laps here, if any, here tonight. That's going to go a long way in that matchup as well as the individual championship too. I just realized I have Balliet in green on the scoring pylon. He's supposed to be in orange.
He's green. He's one above. As we got Seth Reed coming down, Vincent Cortez coming down, Logan Truitt coming down. Saw some lockup there from Cortez and Truitt. We got Devin Zimmerman coming as well. That magic school bus looking paint scheme. As all 4 are in the top 10 making their pit stop, and Jacob Manning going to pick up the lead in the process.
Yep, so the 50 car out in front here. Reedy in second now. Max Service moves up in third, and I think business is about to pick up with Seth Reed already coming down. I think that might play the 50's hand here and see, but it's always a tough call. One lap is really going to be a win for Seth Reed, I feel like, making that undercut, so we'll see. Wow, really dicey moment there. You saw him working the hands inside that car as he got loose off of 2. He might stay out for a little while now just to kind of block tank racing too, but looking like he's slowing down here.
Yeah, I mean, he got the lap led last time by the way that this track lays out. So here he comes, the 50 car. Jacob Manning coming down pit road. Going to cycle that lead over to Austin Reedy. So the points leader going to pick up a bonus point. Nathan De La Rosa coming in as well from position number 5. Not as many takers this time by. I don't think a playoff driver is going to take that big swing at trying to stretch this thing into a one-stopper, but I think if you're looking at like a Craig Lautenslagger, a Cole Martin, a Jeremy Little, those might be some of the guys that might take that shot with nothing to lose, save a little bit of fuel, see if you can make it to lap 30, and that'll tell you that you can do it again and really cut down on one of those pit stops.
So have to imagine coming out of 2 as you see Max Service closing in on Austin Reedy now. Looks like Service has a really good long run car here as he's still running down this 96. And I mean, he made up some ground early on in that run too to get up here and battle with these guys. Looking like both of them setting up to come down pit road. And nope, I lied. They're staying out there for the time being.
Yeah, and this is where the gamble is too, because right now I said that you're not seeing as much of a fall off as you would expect at a track this size. It's still a second and a half of fall off that we're seeing at this point. Maybe closer to 2 seconds for some of these cars, just because of how the turns are, how long these straightaways are. You don't get the run off the turn, and we got trouble at the entrance of pit road.
Yeah, there's Jack Johnson here. Heavy damage to the front of that 36 AAA insurance machine for Jonathan Byer Racing, and we saw, looked like Bo Tiffany was in front of him. He might be out of this race as he's starting to fall
Yeah.
through.
Yeah. Yep. Looks like Bo Tiffany done for the night. So I think we saw what might have happened between with the 36 car spinning at the entrance of pit road.
So both these guys going to come down, it looks like, and they keep fooling me. They're staying out there. They're going to drag race all the way down this front straightaway. Max Service going to go ahead and tuck in as Austin Reedy leads another lap, and that's going to force the hand of Joshua Balliet, who's bringing the 7 machine down.
Yeah, so Balliet will come down this time, and my computer decided to do a random update. That's cool. Sorry about that. As yeah, Balliet coming down pit road. He's going to be the only taker out of the top 10 this time by. But we're starting to see now. We only got 6 cars left on this opening original pit stall or original pit stop or timing, however you want to put that. Still yet to come down pit road. So I'm not sure. Maybe we're going to see some guys try to stretch this. Maybe not. But these two still running out there.
Max Service got real loose off it too. That brought Austin Reedy right back to the bumper. I'm willing to bet that this forces the 96's hand here to finally come down pit road, while Service going to stay out and lead a lap here, and they're going to make a liar out of me again. This is becoming a theme here as Reedy stays out. So our top 2 staying out this time. Lautenschlager, he's going to bring it in from third back there.
Okay, well, that's going to be one of the ones I thought maybe would try this. Cole Martin going to stay out. Looks like Jeremy Little going to stay out. Jonathan Byer going to stay out. So still 5 cars out there on this original run. Seth Reed only 15 seconds now behind Jonathan Byer in 5th. 31 seconds back, but that is a big differential right now. One pit stop here, that's going to cost you about 45 seconds or so. So that's going to be a pretty heavy distance here. That's going to be made up on this undercut, as those leaders that came down already, they're about 5 laps in on their tire run.
Yeah, so we'll see what works, whether the undercut or the overcut strategy here, and looking like they're both going to bring it down this time. I don't know if they had much fuel left in that tank, and both looking like they got on there pretty good. You said it's kind of one of the easier entries here, which in my opinion, you know, that just gives you more opportunity to screw it up here. So they both get on pretty easily. Looking like Cole Martin, he's going to stay out.
Yeah, Cole Martin going to stay out, and Jonathan Byer going to stay out as well. So we're down to the final 2 trying to hang on to maybe a one-stopper, both with nothing to lose at this point. Neither involved in the team playoff, neither involved in the individual playoff as well. They are in the running for the Tier 2 championship, but that's all they've got to run for aside from this race itself. So if there's anybody that's going to take this swing, it might as well be these 2. I was expecting somebody would try it, because why not at that point? And I think at this point in the run, if you've gone this far, unless you're starting to run out of fuel, you may as well stick with the idea.
Yeah, I don't hate it one bit. You can hear Cole Martin as we ride on board definitely clutching it. I think he's out of fuel, actually. You can hear it kind of sputtering a little bit.
Yeah, that tack bouncing around all over the place. So that might tell you enough right there that one stop probably not going to work out.
But Jonathan Byer, he's still out here. I'm betting you he clutches this going into 1. No. He's not clutching it through 1 at least, as really just completes 2 more laps. He might be able to one-stop this thing, but I just don't know if it's enough. I mean, you consider the lap times that we're seeing here. We'll put the last time by on the scoring pylon. He's over 2 seconds slower than Seth Reed. And that's with how old the tires now? Probably 7, it looks like?
7 laps for Seth Reed, 28 laps obviously for Jonathan Byer. He might not be, clutching it in turn 1 or anything like that, but I think he was really gentle on the throttle, but now I think that's enough there, so he's going to dive down pit road. So we are going to see everybody make 2 stops in this race, whether we see a caution or not, and that's really going to alter kind of how we thought this race might play out. Keep in mind, 2 seasons ago, we saw 9 cautions in this race. We saw a couple of cautions last season. So traditionally you see it, but we've got a lot of gap here for much of the field. As this race really spreading out, we might, I say that so far, we might keep that trend at bay maybe today.
Yeah, almost to the halfway mark of this thing. And I'm going to do a where did he come from moment. Vincent Cortez up to second, just like that, sitting back here. Another track. He seems to really excel on the flatter tracks. We saw him win at Phoenix a few weeks back, and looking like he is excelling once again in that 23. And as he says that, or as I say that, gets a little loose off of 2 and right under pressure from Jacob Manning now.
And Manning with a couple laps fresher tires over Cortez and over Reed, which at this point they're about going to be level anyway. You mentioned the big winner there being Vincent Cortez on those pit stops. I think the one that might have been hurt the most, we got a really good look at the front end of Vincent Cortez's car. I think the one that got hurt the most, though, is going to be that 7 car of Joshua Balliet. Out of those that came in early, he's fallen down to the 9th position, had a near 17-second pit stop, which tells me either a little bit of damage repair or overshot the pit just a little bit.
Yep, we saw it right at the end of him coming down pit road. He definitely overshot it, had to back it up, and that's just a killer when you're having a great run early on, and he's going to have to rebound from that as he's right on the bumper of Jackson Wade. Going to take a look on the inside here.
Yeah, getting that little side draft, trying to pack that air into the left rear wheel well. That's a tongue twister there. Trying to pull that 69 car back and just not able to get that drive, though. Being pinched down on the inside like that, you just don't feel confident on that turn. It's so easy to drift up a little bit too high or maybe just turn it a little too tightly and lose control of it. But a big dive there into turn number 3. He's going to get side by side with Wade. Wade going to have the toe there from Nathan De La Rosa, but the push is going to come from behind here from Max Service.
Yeah, Max is going to go with his teammate every day of the week here. So the 81 going to give a big shove to Balliet going into turn 1. I think he's going to be able to clear the 69, but wow, 69 really sends it in there. You can see him hit that bump that's at the entry of turn 1. It got that car all sorts of loose, and the 7 takes over in 8th now.
And he's going to drop down to the inside. It almost looked like a block, but I think that was just him helping Max Service get that pull from the draft just that little bit to make sure he cleared Jackson Wade before they got to that tunnel turn number 2. As Barney watching on, and he's been a little bit bored here thus far in the first half of this race.
Well, it's going to be a good finish. I have faith. We've had great finishes here in Pocono in the past, so definitely stay tuned. We still got a whole half of the race left coming back after this break. Silverback Tax Solutions specializes in dealing with IRS tax problems. If you are receiving threatening letters from the IRS, or if the IRS has placed liens or levies on your property, Silverback Tax Solutions can help you find relief. We have worked with hundreds of people to resolve their tax problems. If you're behind on filing your taxes, it's never too late to get on the right track. Silverback Tax Solutions can help with that also. Don't let another night go by where you lose sleep worrying about the IRS or your taxes. Head over to www.silverbacttax.com or call 662-996-4357 and contact an enrolled agent today. We can help you gain peace of mind and deal with those problems for you.
Want to be a part of an established league on iRacing? A league that's competitive, fun, and above all fair? Look no further than Speed Racing Network. Originally known as Mid-South Madness, SRN has evolved into a league that can bring the best out in any given driver. Drivers work their way up through the ranks to hopefully one day call themselves a champion of Speed Racing Network. If you're interested in joining, don't hesitate to reach out to league admins to claim your spot today. Maybe you'll end up in the history books. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor in Speed Racing Network, feel free to head over to www.speedracingnetwork.com and reach out to an admin today. And as always, remember to go faster.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Thanks for sticking on by with us here, kicking it off the second half of the Quaker State 150, and Seth Reed still out in front as we kick off lap 35, leaving 26 circuits around Pocono Raceway left, and Jacob Manning definitely closing in slowly but surely, but we were talking during the break, it's going to be hard for anybody to beat this 51 right now. He's on a different level.
Absolutely, and that's not much of a shock. I mean, at the start of the race, went over how successful he's been in the first two races here for the Xfinity cars at Pocono and SRN, averaging a 1.5 finish with a second and a first, leading over 40 laps each time, well on his way to doing that here again tonight. Manning getting that little bit of a pull here, closing in just a bit, but it just seems so hard to make your way around that 51 car on the racetrack. The only time he hasn't led today is during that green flag pit cycle that we saw about 15 laps ago now.
Yeah, so we'll see how it shapes up here as that second pit window going to open up here. We saw Seth Reed pit on lap 21 last time by. As you see 25 to go, that's going to signal lap 36. So he's got 15 laps on these sets of tires already. Does he stretch it out this time to kind of offset a little bit of an undercut and kind of give him the better tires towards the end? Or what you got to think about this as you got two contenders right on your tail here, Jacob Manning and Vincent Cortez. They're going to pretty much do what he doesn't.
Yeah, it's going to be really difficult, too, because you got to think about all the cars that stayed out. And during the break, another thing I said was I'm kind of questioning the call by both Service and Reedy, who are currently running 5th and 7th, about staying out as long as they did, while knowing at that point that they weren't going to make it a one-stop race with how far short they came from that. But what it has done is these guys are about a second a lap faster than Reed right now. Last time by, a 56.5 for Seth Reed, 55.7 for Austin Reedy, 55.8 for Max Service. So they're both closing in pretty quickly on Seth Reed. Now, Reed, of course, probably going to be pitting in the next 4 laps or so, so I'm not going to think that Austin Reedy is going to catch up. But they're going to be making up a whole lot of ground here and taking less fuel on this last stop if they kind of stretch this out a little bit farther again, playing that advantage on the tires.
I mean, Logan Truitt right in front of him has 5-lap older tires, so we'll ride on board with Reedy. You can see that car just getting bigger and bigger in a hurry, and you see the times there last time by. You're exactly right, Reedy and Balliet, Service, they're all running down the leaders in a hurry. That's going to kind of push them. Oh, really close to getting into the wall there for the 96, but looking like Seth Reed and Jacob Manning got a little battle out in front here.
Yeah, right as I said, it's going to be really hard to pass Seth Reed. Guess what? Jacob Manning trying to find a way. He's got the nose out in front. He'll lead that lap going by. That's not the first time he's led today, though, so he's already got that 1 bonus point. But now it's going to be Vincent Cortez just like, I don't even want to help either of these guys, giving them the push down right now. But he's going to tuck down to the inside, and we're going to see Manning and Cortez work their way around Reed.
Yeah, you can see Reed hit that bump that I mentioned a little while ago. Just got that car all sorts of tight and out of whack, and he's going to fall back to third. Tough spot to pass a lap car here. That's Tyler Murray in the 16, back in 16th. They're going to try and get by on the inside here. That's going to kill the exit of the 51. He's going to lose touch with this gap or this crowd.
Yeah, that's just bad timing there. It's nothing. I mean, Murray did everything right. He stayed as high as he could. It's just where those cars came up against each other, and you could see the difference there. And Reed going to take that opportunity and say, I've just lost touch with those two. I'm coming down pit road right now to try to get that undercut going.
Yeah, I don't blame him. I would have done the same thing. So he's going to bring it down for that final green flag stop of the night in the 51 machine. So the new leader, Jacob Manning, leading again that time. But Vincent Cortez, I think, has been taking care of that car maybe a little bit better right on the bumper of the 50.
Yeah, he's going to have the draft effect as well, sitting behind that 50 car of Jacob Manning. They're on about the same age tires, 17 laps for Manning, 18 for Cortez. Either way, I think they're both coming in probably around lap number 20, so I think this isn't going to be too far away. As a little wiggle there coming out of that tunnel turn for Manning. As he pulled away, he was getting as much as he could through that turn.
Yeah, they were kind of doing that a little bit synchronized too. It was stepping out on Cortez as well. Looking like they're both. Oh no, Cortez gonna bring it down. He's gonna have to really get on the brakes here because he's getting everything out of that entry. Looking like a perfect entry into the pits. That could be the difference.
That was a great entry down pit road. And one thing that does too, I think it wasn't so much what Manning was going to do. I think he reacted to what Reed did last time. And knowing that Reed has been the class of the field today, he's doing that undercut. He's trying to keep as close to Reed as he can once this all cycles through. So he didn't want to stretch out that undercut any farther.
Yeah, he's got Logan Truitt on pit road as well as Josh Susie, De La Rosa, and Jackson Wade. So 5 more cars making their final green flag stop. So first through 6 yet to come down. Manning, Reedy, Service, Balliet, Zimmerman, and Lautenschlager. See when they all decide to come down. Zimmerman out there the longest so far, last pitted on lap 21, and then Jacob Manning on lap 22, looking like he's setting up to come down pit road this time.
Yeah, he'll come down pit road. That's going to leave 7 cars now that are still waiting to pit. Actually, make it 8 cars as Logan Joyner, one of those as well. So 2nd through 8th now in that running order as Manning just now down pit road. Still out there on that second set of tires here in the race as this thing's still going green with 20 laps to go.
And I'm just going to go ahead and say it right now. I personally feel like Vincent Cortez nailed the entry as compared to Jacob Manning. Jacob taking a little bit of easier entry onto pit road. That might cost him too. At the end of the day, we saw Manning leading Cortez. I think it's going to be flip-flopped on the back end here, and maybe Cortez might get out to a little bit of a gap. We'll have to see.
Yeah, and you do see on that pylon, Reed is out in front of Cortez after that pit stop, but only by about a second. And we were seeing a 1.5 seconds of fall off there. Maybe about 0.3 was the gap for Reed back behind Cortez. So that tells you that's a couple tenths of a second there that Cortez made up on that pit entry just by how smooth that one was.
Yeah, this is the onboard of Vincent Cortez, and there you can see the battle for 5th. Seth Reed just over a second out in front of him, and Manning, like I said, he's going to be behind Cortez now, 0.4 back, but not as bad as I thought it was going to be for the 50.
No, not at all. As we only got 4 cars left trying to make their way down pit road. Reedy, Lautenschlager, Little, and Martin, the last 4 out there that were waiting on this pit stop. Everybody else going to be cycling through already for what should be the final pit stop, barring a caution here the rest of the way. But Austin Reedy, we saw him and Max Service really stretch this out last time by. Service already came down a lap ago. Austin Reedy saying, you know what, I'm still only 16 laps in on these tires. Maybe stretch it out a little bit farther, see what he does this time. He's going to keep it out there on the racetrack. So he came in one of the last cars to come in on that first one. He's going to be one of the few that's going to stick with that strategy.
Yeah, this is probably my unprofessional opinion. I'm not sure. I don't see the advantage of it at this point. You got to pit regardless. I don't know. Maybe he is just banking on maybe a caution coming out, and he's got that cushion going into Auto Club next week, and he's got the extra bonus point for leading a lap. Not sure there are any more bonus points besides a clean race out there to be had for the 96 machine, but we'll see how it works out. We're usually wrong about these things, and I'm sure he's got a plan in mind.
Well, and the problem for him is going to be if he is banking on a caution happening here pretty quickly. If it happens in the next couple laps, I don't think most of those guys are going to be coming in, and most of them are still on the lead lap. So it's just going to put Reedy to the back of the pack regardless. Oh, wow, Manning nearly getting into the wall there off of the turn. So this is where it's really risky. I think if it goes another 5-6 laps, maybe there's going to be some guys coming down pit road for tires. So maybe that's the hope there for Reedy, but I think you got to play hello. I think you got to play the way that the race is played out, and I was about to say, which has been caution-free, but we almost saw one there.
Yeah, so Manning, we'll call that one of the easier passes you'll have here at Pocono, as, yeah, that thing was all but spun out in the 23 machine. So Manning gets by Vincent Cortez and now sets his sights on Seth Reed, who is 1 second ahead of him here. This is going to be the battle for the lead here once these pit stops cycle out. So we'll keep an eye on it and see what unfolds. But right now, just really one car is separating them, and that's going to be Jeremy Little once Seth Reed gets by. Jeremy yet to pit, but that's for second.
Yeah, Reed, I mean, you get to see the difference there in the tires, the way that he was able to drive off that turn, stick that thing to the inside, and he's just going to have a real easy time pulling away. Look at that gap open up through the tunnel turn, and that was bound to happen. And you could also see how close Manning and Cortez get now to that 26 of Jeremy Little. We said it before, if you're not in the playoff, you got nothing to lose trying to gamble on it a little bit. I think Reedy is putting himself in a pretty precarious position, but if you're Jeremy Little, you're sitting there not in the playoffs, why not take that shot?
Yeah. I don't disagree with you on that end, but yeah, I mean, Reedy he's got points on the line here. This could hurt his chances because the longer you stay out there, sure, your undercut or overcut is going to pay off, but you got to give yourself time to get past these guys on those fresher tires. So each time he goes by, he loses a lap on the back end with those fresher tires, which you got to weigh that decision sometimes. And right now, he doesn't seem to be too concerned. Here he comes.
Yeah, well, there we go. I was about to say, at some point, you got to think about what's going on in the race. And one of those things, oh, hello, nice save. One of those things is 3 of the guys that are behind that cut line coming into this race, all out of the race. Jovi Ray, Adrian Schumacher, now Logan Joyner out of the race, which means that you got a little bit of protection, but you don't want to give up those points so much by making a mistake on a call and falling all the way to the back. So I think him coming in now, that it's late, yes, but it's the right call at this point, trying to just keep that car as close to those leaders as you can.
So Manning is getting closer and closer, the gap down to 3/10, and lap traffic, surprisingly, here at Pocono, definitely coming into play, I think, as well. 2 lap fresher tires for Manning, and he is on the door of his teammate Seth Reed, who we thought was going to be pretty untouchable here tonight as he goes on by Jonathan Byer. Oh, Byer! Wow, that was a little dicey for Manning there.
Yeah, and as Manning got by, and there's another little tight moment here as he's going to work his way around Seth Reed, and that I don't think we're going to have much happiness there with some of that lap traffic, as Reed just really got pinned down there behind Jack Johnson's car, that 36, which we've seen with some damage on it, and that's going to give the lead to Jacob Manning, and that might motivate Seth Reed a little bit here.
Yeah, that's a great spot if you're Jacob Manning to catch.
Oh, blew up. Jack Johnson blows up right in front of his teammate, Jonathan Byer.
Yeah.
That was that puff of smoke going into 1.
So good thing that didn't happen in front of the leaders. That would have really shaken things up too. But yeah, right now you're going to see a really hot Seth Reed potentially on the racetrack trying to get back by here, with Manning using the pick on the lap traffic. Vincent Cortez, we saw him really fast on the back end. You can see that 23 sliding. Got a caution, Jack Johnson.
That's what I was worried about. I was about to say it when you finished the point that we saw that car blow up. Is he going to bring out a caution by having to stop it on the racetrack? Because there was no way he was getting it back around. And there we go. First caution for a blown engine there for the 36.
Yeah, there's not much to be looked at here. We saw the 36 blow it up there on the front straightaway, like you said, in front of his teammate there, Jonathan Byer. So if we go ahead and take a look at the admin box replay, I can tell you it's just a car stopping on the track because he had no power. So first caution of the night. What?
You know what I'm thinking? We were questioning the strategy of Austin Reedy. This might have worked out perfectly for Austin Reedy.
Yeah, he's going to have fresh tires now.
He's only 2-lap-old tires. Everybody else has gone at least 8, if not longer than that. I think we're going to see a lot of these guys come in, and I think Austin Reedy might cycle out to the front.
I prefaced it with we're usually wrong about these things. So, yeah. I mean, this is the icing on the cake for that matter. So, yeah, he is going to have some freshies out there. Last pitted on lap 45, next closest to him. I mean, Craig Lautenslager pitted on lap 43. Yeah. He might be willing to stay out there too. That's a teammate for Murray Reedy Motorsports as well. But the next closest after that, everybody pretty much on lap 40. So that's 5-lap difference on tires. Now, granted, there is still a lot of time left in this race.
Yes.
After learning, how my race went last night. I won 4 tires and fuel. Well, not even fuel. You should be good. Well, actually, now I'm thinking I would probably take a little bit of fuel in case we do have a green-white checker here.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're Reedy, if you're comfortable on the fuel, if you made sure that you got enough to cover, you stay out. Everybody else, yeah, here we go. Everybody else coming down. Austin Reedy coming down with them, though. Even though he's only got a couple laps on those tires, he's not going to risk it. He's going to stay with everybody.
Yeah, I think the sheer distance left in this race is going to indicate, kind of force his hand. Sure, we're going to go green probably with 10 to go. But that's still 25 miles when you do the math, and that's easy math for me. So that's still a lot of time left in this race.
See how it looks like everybody did a good job on pit road. Didn't see anybody really overshoot.
2 tires. For
Two
Seth
tires,
Reedy,
Austin Reedy.
7.8 second stop. That's going to get him off. Max Service comes out second. Another 2-tire stop. So that puts Jacob Manning in third. Still think that's good position for the 50 on 4 tires.
Yeah, I agree with that. Now, keep in mind, those are the last 2 to come down out of the leaders. They go 2 tires. Not a lot of heat, not a lot of wear on those left sides, so that might not be as much of a disadvantage as it could have been with a few more laps. I kind of like that call. It's aggressive for sure, but I do like that call, taking advantage of the fact that you didn't get those tires on too long ago. They did take 4 on that stop previous, so I like the gamble there, and I think they got the track position, which is going to go a long way too.
Well, don't go anywhere. We're going to come back with the second restart, our first caution here of the night underway, and we will come back with the conclusion of the Quaker State 150. Don't go anywhere. Silverback Tax Solutions specializes in dealing with IRS tax problems. If you are receiving threatening letters from the IRS, or if the IRS has placed liens or levies on your property, Silverback Tax Solutions can help you find relief. We have worked with hundreds of people to resolve their tax problems. If you're behind on filing your taxes, it's never too late to get on the right track. Silverback Tax Solutions can help with that also. Don't let another night go by where you lose sleep worrying about the IRS or your taxes. Head over to www.silverbacktacks.com or call 662-996-4357 and contact an enrolled agent today. We can help you gain peace of mind and deal with those problems for you.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Want to be a part of an established league on iRacing? A league that's competitive, fun, and above all fair? Look no further than Speed Racing Network. Originally known as Mid-South Madness, SRN has evolved into a league that can bring the best out in any given driver. Drivers work their way up through the ranks to hopefully one day call themselves a champion of Speed Racing Network. If you're interested in joining, don't hesitate to reach out to league admins to claim your spot today. And maybe you'll end up in the history books. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor in Speed Racing Network, feel free to head over to www.speedracingnetwork.com and reach out to an admin today. And as always, remember to go faster.
The pace car ducks down pit road, and the field in the hands of Austin Reedy as we see the Silverback Tax Solutions green flag waving for the second time here tonight. Green race through 50 laps just about, and now we're going to have a 10-lap shootout here to the end for the Quaker State 150.
Manning diving to the inside. He's going to put those 2 tires of Max Service stuck in the middle between those 2 JW cars. What that's going to do with 3-wide racing, that is going to open up a big lead here for Austin Reedy. Half second is what he's going to pull away on 2 tires on his own.
So looking to make it back-to-back victories for the 96, going for the 4th win of the season. Just really picking up momentum. And side by side, we got Nathan De La Rosa taking a slide.
He almost saved it, got caught from behind. I believe it was Devin Zimmerman. I can make a pretty easy guess. It was a bright yellow car.
Your pick again, Brandon.
Yeah. Yeah, I was trying to avoid that.
Oh, you know I'm not going to let you get away. So let's take a look at the admin box rec replay. This is going to be the blimp cam taking a look at Nathan De La Rosa in the 66. We saw how tight it was. This is a tough spot. He gets a little help from Susie from behind. That's going to be big because that might go for the EOL on the 53. At the end of the race. That's going to be something here to take into consideration as one of our playoff drivers.
And you think about it here, too. I mean, yes, Devin Zimmerman, the tank driver, that's going to be one of their cars that's going to have some damage. But, I don't know. I think you're going to be leaning towards that being an EOL on Susie. And keep in mind, Michael Larch, 2 laps down in 18th. Nick Helda, 4 laps down in 19th. This might be 3 JW cars sitting pretty deep in the field. Still some time to make up some ground if you're Susie, but that's going to be a tricky spot when you got tank drivers currently sitting 3rd, 5th, and 6th. That's going to really shake up this team championship in race 1.
So there's De La Rosa limping around at the back after being turned by the 53 of Susie. Susie currently running in 10th. Brandon, you'll have to give us the word because you know me, I don't ever have my chat on. I can't. You guys will be hearing all sorts of some profanities probably at this point. Some guys not very happy right now with the late cautions. That long green run was really working out for a few guys, but right now they're going to have to sort it out here, and likely going to see the green flag waving with 6 laps to go. And right now, we saw this yesterday. We've seen this all week. The 2-tire stop at the end really paying off as it kind of ramps up the aggressiveness out there on the track. These guys getting even racier. Reedy going to come away with one here tonight, potentially on a 2-tire stop. Lane Doyle tried it last night, and Aaron Gerwich tried it the night before. Both those guys coming home in second. Can Reedy be the first to get it done and bring it home in victory lane with the old 2-tire stop?
I'm not going to rule it out. I mean, the tough thing here is just how wide open this racetrack is with how many grooves you have on those straightaways if you can get a run. So he's got to be perfect through these turns, especially on the exits. As you see the 52 of Michael Larch, lucky dog, getting one of his 2 laps back. And did want to check back in. EOL penalty, 53, Joshua Susie. He'll be going to the back of the line, which is going to relegate him down to 17th place on this restart with what should be 6 laps to try to make up as many spots as he can.
Yeah, we'll bring up that sidebar here to kind of show you the points coming into tonight. I mean, he came in with an 8-point cushion in 17th. Not going to be feeling very good now, losing a lot of points as the guys go on by. Now, that's not to say he doesn't get a few of them back here. But as you've seen it, it's not easy to pass here at Pocono, and with 6 laps to do so, we'll see how many he can get back.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen that 53 car has been more than solid today, so I think he'll get at least a couple of those spots back, but just not what you want to be there at this point in the run. It's just a tough spot for him. But who knows? We've seen some big runs through the field here at Pocono. Get the draft at the right time. Maybe we're not done with some cautions here either. If he can find his way through that, if it does pop up, he's going to be right back in the running here.
Yeah, so we've had the same names up in the top 5 all night long. Austin Reedy still leading the way, as I believe we will see the 1-to-go signal from Barney up there in the tower. Well, the flag stand, I should say, not the tower. There you see it. The pace car light's about to go off here, so we will go back to green with 6 laps to go. But Reedy leading Reed, and then Max Service, Jacob Manning, and Vincent Cortez rounding out the top 5. Joshua Balliet getting up into the mix too. Logan Truitt, Jackson Wade, Cole Martin, and Lucas Lyons will round out the top 10. So we got some new names trying to get up here in the mix. We haven't talked about Balliet all night after, especially he slid through his box there on the green flag stop. That really hurt him, but he's getting up in the mix now. Maybe going to even get even further up. Might see that 7 on a podium if you don't blink too fast here.
Yeah, a little crazy to be thinking that this is a down week for Joshua Balliet here in the playoff as he's running in 6th. He's had no finish worse than 4th throughout these playoffs in the first 4 races thus far, but he's right back in the mix, that is for sure. And one thing I just noticed here, Austin Reedy on that last restart took the top. And there in this one, he's going to take the inside line, and I think that's a risky one because you're putting 2 JW teammates lined up with each other now on the outside, and maybe the 2 cars that have been the class of the field all night long here at Pocono. I'm not sure if I wouldn't have tried to break those 2 up. This one, and maybe put Max Service, who's also on that same 2-tire strategy, in the running there too.
I mean, that's why I would do it. You just said it right there. I mean, I can kind of see the thinking. Try and bring that 81 along with you, who's also on 2 tires. I hate to say it, to kind of slow down those JW guys, maybe help them out a little bit as far as the 96 getting away here, but we'll see how it works out. JW usually on it when it comes to these restarts, and we'll see if they can get another one good one here tonight. Vincent Cortez there sitting in row 3. He's had a fast hot rod all night long too, so still anybody's game. The pace car going to go ahead, take that sharp left down pit road, and the field going to be back in the hands of Austin Reedy as the Silverback Tax Solutions green flag waves again here for the Quaker State 156 laps to go.
It was hard to see from that angle, but Seth Reed was almost in line with Max Service nose to nose on that restart. He got beat big time by Austin Reedy before they even got to the restart zone. And as I say this, I'm watching 4 wide, 5 wide through turn number 1 for a little bit on that entry.
Balliet in the middle there. He's got to be careful as Cole Martin and Lucas Lyons as well as Jackson Wade all around him. That's going to lose a couple spots. He's back to 9th there in the 7 machine. He's going to have to get out there and put the elbows out, maybe pick up a few more spots on the outside of the tunnel turn. That car was all but spun out right there.
But yeah, and that was a heck of a move there, though, on the outside, a power move. But one thing I'm seeing in terms of the movement, look at the pylon right now. Reedy, Service, Cortez, 1, 2, 3. Seth Reed falls back to 4th. Jacob Manning back to 6th. There's Logan Truitt moving his way through up into the 5th place position.
You're going to see this a lot here at the later laps. Reedy trying to break the draft as he pulls away to about a 2-3 car gap between him and Max Service as we are 5 laps to go. How long does Vincent Cortez wait to get around his teammate Max Service? He looks to be taking a look to the inside now in that 23 machine.
And that's a tough spot to be in if you're Max Service. You know that you got a teammate in this team championship battle that's sitting above that cut line on fresher tires. He's had a lot of speed in that 23 car, but you want to hang on to that second position yourself. This might be putting the race squarely in the hands of Austin Reedy the more that they battle, though.
Yeah, and this is holding up Seth Reed, too. Nowhere to go in the 51. He's going to back the entry up into turn 3, try to turn below the 23 on the exit of turn 3. A lot of threes. Yeah, he's going to take a look to the inside down this front straightaway with all momentum, but Logan Truitt going to be pushing the 23 now up to his teammate Max Service, so it's going to be a drag race down to turn number 1.
Yeah, fantastic move to get there, but it's so hard to fight that 3-car line that was up there on the outside with the momentum. But Reed is going to get clear of Vincent Cortez. Still got 3/4 of a second and 2 cars to pass if he wants to grab the win here for the 2nd straight season at Pocono. Not an easy task to do with 4 laps to go, really 3.5 laps to go, as he's still got to make his way around Max Service as well.
Oh, you can see him get real tight there. Oh boy, and that's going to give the momentum right to Vincent Cortez here as he's going to come right back to the bumper of the 51, but Seth Reed going to manage to hang on to 3rd. But the lap's ticking away now, and like we said, we were going to be completely wrong as what Austin Reedy was doing, but so far so good. The 2 tires, wow, big hit back there for Jeremy Little, it looked like. The 2 tires, 1-2 right now after that start.
As we see that snake formation down the front straightaway happening once again. But Seth Reed, he's still trying to make up that ground. He overshoots that turn. That's going to give a wide open door for Vincent Cortez. Nearly slides up, though. He had to back out of it himself and nearly gave up that pass, but he does complete it coming out of 1.
Yeah, that bump in turn 1 absolutely killing that 51. We've seen it happen to him a couple times here tonight, and it did it again right there now. Logan Truitt to the inside of the 51 as Austin Reedy continues to pull out to over a half a second lead over Max Service. So everybody getting kind of single filed out here. So there's Reedy going into turn 3. No real danger coming off of turn 3. He's going to see 2 laps to go from the flagman Barney in the stand. And they're running out of time.
Balliet into the wall coming off of turn number 3, running in the 7th position. Not hard contact, but maybe enough to kill any kind of momentum he had in trying to make a pass on Jacob Manning. As we see that snake effect and just trying to break that draft as best as Reedy can. Only gave up about a 0.5 of a second down that straightaway. You would typically see... Yeah, you typically see a lot more, but I think that little wiggle that we're seeing here is kind of playing out pretty well, but still that 81 starting to charge up towards the 96.
And this would be the first ever win for Max Service. You know he's hungry right now. He's got an opportunity to possibly, oh man, the 96 just looks real tight, and Service gets through there really well. He's there, 0.3 back, 1/4 of a second back, almost sends it into turn 3. We're going to have a battle coming to the white flag for the lead.
And I tell you what, these two get side by side. I would not rule out that 23 of Vincent Cortez. Oh, a big blink there for Austin Reedy. Another one. This is going to get a little scary here if you're in that 96. But look at the run by Max Service, now pulling up within 0.2 of a second. Cortez not far behind. Neither is Reed.
How hard does he battle if he gets to the bumper through turn 1? Reedy still out in front, but just 1 car length separating it. And then you see the delta shrinking. 1800s, 1700s. He's using that draft. The 81 is going to be there by turn 3. This is where Reedy's been struggling.
Trouble in the mid-pack. Lucas Lyons running around the 10th position, but still back out in front. Obviously, we're staying green.
Oh, Service gets into the wall. That might do it for Reedy here winning this race, unless he can send it in here and get a beautiful exit, but I don't think the 81 is going to have it. Reedy off of turn 3. He's going to see that checkered flag waving and win the Quaker State 150 going back to back.
Whew, he had a long way to go on that straightaway to get to that line, but he made that line work out just enough. 0.16 of a second, the difference at the end here. And those two, the guys that we were kind of questioning the strategy all night long, well, they finished 1 and 2.
Yeah, they did it, man. Max Service was certainly there. I know he's going to be a little deflated, but still looking forward to talking to him. But this is the man to beat right now. Austin Reedy in the 96. Picking up the 4th win of the season. Still with 2 weeks to go. He might sweep the whole second round here if we go out to Auto Club. Another big 2-mile oval next week. So, I mean, also, he's going to have a huge cushion, too. Let's be honest. Not much to worry about as far as making it to the Final 5.
Yeah, I mean, we saw 3 of those 5 drivers behind that cut line coming into the race. They all near the back, if not in the back of this running order at the end of this race. So 7 drivers really going to separate themselves from the rest. Still going to be some work to do if you're Austin Reedy, but you're obviously going to be in a pretty dang good position there with 1 race left as he gets to burn it out for the 4th time this season.
Yeah, and unlike Sean Griffith last night, I'm not going to miss Austin Reedy's celebration, a well-earned celebration. I'm not calling anybody out or anything. I'm just saying.
Oh, the pettiness in the last 2 nights of broadcasts now as we get a good burnout here from Austin Reedy, and a little bit of a quick one, but I think if he's banking on doing a Polish victory lap, this is going to be a pretty long way around here.
Hey, he's using all the racetrack right now. He's having fun, right, in that TJ's team number 96. But yeah, I'm going to sit here and give him his time. I'm not naming names, Sean.
By the way, one thing I want to call, and it was kind of in the background on that last lap, but you want to know how much the team competition matters right now? I saw Jacob Manning and Joshua Balliet about run each other into the inside wall coming off of turn 1, blocking each other, trying to make a pass for 6th and 7th, which that might be the all-important point deciding this one tonight in race number 1 of 3 against JW and Tank.
I love it. There's a lot of pride to be had as far as the team standings go, and you're going to see that pouring out here is now done with week 18. There's going to be 2 more opportunities to win that team championship, but let's take a look at those finishing results here tonight in the Silverback Series for race 18 of 20. Austin Reedy wins it by 16/100ths of a second over Max Service, and then another Tank Racing car rounding out the podium for Vincent Cortez, Seth Reed, and Logan Truitt 4th and 5th.
And that great battle coming off of turn 1 with all those blocks. So it goes to Joshua Balliet in 6th. Jacob Manning will be in 7th. What a rebound after that late race penalty there for Joshua Susi, coming back from 17th to 8th in the final 6 laps. Cole Martin will wind up in 9th with Jonathan Byer rounding out our top 10.
Yeah, looking at those JW and Tank cars, it's going to be so close, especially when it comes down to bonus points and who got what. Looking at the standings, you would think Tank got it, but I think JW has more bonus points in the bag. It's going to be close, and I don't know what the rules are if there's a tie, so I hate to bring that into existence for Sean. But you know what? He can get it done. But going through the rest of the top 10 or top 20, excuse me, Jackson Wade in 11th, Craig Lautenslager 12th, Jeremy Little 13th, Devin Zimmerman in 14th, with Nathan De La Rosa coming home in 15th.
16th place will go to Tyler Murray. Lucas Lyons was flirting with the top 10 most of the night. A little bit of trouble on that final lap. He'll bring up the rear of that lead lap in 17th. Michael Larch will finish in 18th, 1 lap down. 4 laps down in 19th for Nick Halda and Logan Joyner. We'll round out our top 20, 18 laps down.
Yeah, Jack Johnson, Bo Tiffany, Adrian Schumacher, notable name right there. He's going to be 23rd. And Jovi Ray, another playoff driver, he's going to round out the field in 24th. Only 24 cars here tonight. He's going to take last place. So I think his playoff hope's going to be dashed after an early exit here tonight. So let's go ahead and start the interviews here. We're going to have Vincent Cortez join us up here in the booth. So let's bring him on up. Vincent, it's Greg Olenek and Brandon Domain. Welcome to the broadcast booth. Fast number 23 hot rod out there all night long, but you were so close to getting that win here tonight. How was your race?
Yeah, I appreciate it. It was good. I mean, going into it, I knew I was probably going to choke qualifying just because I don't know, I always do something stupid. But yeah, just through the race, we're battling hard, and we just lost the lead pack, and then coming to one of those pit stops, it was, I don't know if God intervened or something, man, but I think I was like 70 mile an hour, like a half an inch before I hit the cone, and then somehow I got down to 55. But yeah, once that happened, I caught up with Seth and Jacob. I don't know, man, everything worked out. We pulled away.
I'm glad we didn't jinx that pit entry because we were actually riding on board during that one and marveling about how quickly you got in there, and glad you didn't get a penalty on that one. But one thing I'm kind of looking at here is this 5 straight top 10 finishes here for you, 3 of those being in the top 5, including the win at Phoenix. Got one more race to get to that championship 5. What's it going to take at Auto Club next week?
Don't do stupid stuff. I'm the king. If there's ever a winner at being stupid, I've taken every single race by far. I'd be leading the playoffs and everything by that. There's something like last week I jumped the start. Texas, I couldn't get through a lap car to save my life. This race just just not clicking. I didn't click auto fuel off, and I was plowing at the end, and trying to pass my teammate Max was tough. So if I can clean it up and just be smoother on the wheel and not do any stupid things, I think we can get to the championship 5 and get a win, and then hopefully take it.
Well, I guess that makes me stupid too, because I always forget about that dang auto fuel. It's got me a few times as well, but you looked solid out there here tonight, just methodically making your way up through the field. And top 3 heading in to the final race at Auto Club with some momentum. Not going to be a bad thing as far as you trying to claim your first championship here in the Silverback Series. So before we move on to next week, who you got to thank here tonight?
Of course, everyone at Tank Racing 213, Simware, Healthcare Billing, you guys up for doing this in the admins. So really, there's a lot that goes into this, and there's a giant list of people to thank. And I'll be here for 30 minutes, so I'm not going to do that to y'all. But yeah.
All right, buddy. Well, we appreciate it. Congratulations on a great run here tonight. We'll see you next week out at Auto Club.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
All right. So Vincent Cortez keeping it short and sweet. Something I didn't do last night, Brandon. I got a lot of crap for that from you and Sean. But Vincent, short and sweet here. We're going to move on to his teammate Max Service. Trying to track him down in the Tank Racing Discord. Bring him on up and talk to the man himself who comes home P number 2 tonight. Max, welcome. It's Greg Olenek and Brandon Domain up in the booth. P2 on a 2-tire stop after starting 4th here tonight. Did you think you had a chance tonight coming into this thing, how it ran out early on? You fell through maybe a little bit further back than you wanted to. That strategy gets you back up here competing with Austin Reedy, and you got so close, tight on the exit of 2 on that last lap. You probably kind of killed your momentum here at any shot at winning, but still, hey, you're staring down the possibility of battling for a championship when we get to Vegas in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think everybody ran a little bit too good tonight, unfortunately. Probably still going to need some help to get into the final five, but we're a little closer now. I blame Brandon if we miss. All his fault. Completely his fault. Shouldn't have picked me. But overall, a good race. I screwed up my entry into the tunnel on the last lap there. Just didn't quite get enough of a run off. Took as much exit as I felt like I could without knocking the wall down. Just didn't quite get there, unfortunately. But I didn't think the two tires were going to work that well. They came on at the end of the race where everybody else is on four.
Yeah, I mean, you and Austin both made us look a little dumb up here in the booth because we were kind of questioning those calls on how long y'all stretched out that first run. And okay, but yeah, one of the things, apologies for last week of picking you. I didn't know I was the kiss of death all of a sudden here. But one thing too is we saw how great the racing was between your team, Tank Racing, JW Racing, and the first race of that best of three on the team side of things. What's the mood in the Tank stable? Because yes, there's that individual championship that's obviously the lore for a lot of guys, but that team championship right there as well as you start that series off tonight.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. We're willing to have fun with it. No, it's going to be a tough battle. They're all really good. And quite honestly, the first half, 2/3 of this race, they were running like 1, 2, 3, and we're like, we are screwed because every single one of us hates Pocono, and we all suck there. So we felt like we were just gonna lose this one and just hope for the next two because we feel a little bit better about those. But a win here is huge for us. That kind of sets the tone, and hopefully that can put us on the right track.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it's going to work out. It's certainly going to be a close standings as far as this week goes. We'll have to get those numbers once Sean gets out of the admin booth and can crunch them up for us here, but yet to see those come out just yet. But before we move on to Auto Club here, next week for the final race of the round of 10, who you got to thank here tonight?
Yeah, I guess I'll thank Sean for doing all this points work that he's about to have to do. 100 on Anesthesia, Healthcare Billing Incorporated, 213 Simware, Invader Sim Designs, RJ Bishop Designs, Burgarts. Seth, of course, is my spotter. He was the one who really made that call for 2 at the end. I was begging him to do 2 under green. Thank God we didn't do that. And all my Tank Racing teammates, you guys for putting this together. Hopefully we can go run maybe one spot better next week at Auto Club.
All right. I don't see why you can't. Another big 2-mile oval here, and I think we're going to see a fast number 81 hot rod when you get out there to Fontana. So best of luck next week, and have a good night, bud.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
So Max Service comes home, P number 2. Let's track down the winner, Austin Reedy. Starting to get pretty familiar with us up here in the booth. Wins last week at Chicagoland to kick off the round of 10. Wins again here tonight. Austin, welcome. It's Greg Olenek and Brandon Domain up in the booth. Making me look smart here. Winning the Quaker State 150 on the 2-tire stop. You had a fast car all night long, but really you knew you had your hands full when it came to Seth Reed and Jacob Manning out front, especially with Vincent Cortez up there too. Was that the play? You just had to get out in front with the track position on those 2 tires, and you were smooth sailing from there?
I don't think you win the race if you do the same strategy that the guys are doing that are a second in front of you. So you got to try changing up. Really, in that first run, I was looking at how close the fuel would be in that last run, and maybe if we can stretch it and maybe save. But then coming out there in the second run, I realized I was on the wrong strategy, and we weren't going to be able to save it. So we're going to have to see where it played out. And when we did pit there under that green, we took only rights and like the least amount of fuel as possible. But we came out like 9 seconds behind. So we were going to probably get a top 5, but we got a lucky caution there and let us re-rack and take 2 on that stop.
I mean, it absolutely worked out. Back-to-back wins. You haven't seen anything outside of the top 5 in the races that you run here in the playoff, and still a little bit of work to do with how packed those the 7 guys that were that had a good night here at Pocono in terms of the points. But obviously, you're going to be sitting in a pretty good spot going into Auto Club. So, what's the next week going to look like for you going there for that last race of the round?
Just take it easy and keep ourselves out of trouble. I really like Auto Club. It's a shame that they're tearing it up. It's always been one of my favorite racetracks. It's one of the racetracks that I got my first league win at. So I really like that track a lot, and it's probably one of the last times I ever raced there in a league. But I'm excited. We're gonna have a nice little points lead going in for that third week. Just keep the car clean. Try to bang out another top 5 and keep the momentum going.
And you guys get the win too, as far as the third place matchup goes in the team championship standings. So that's going in your favor as well. Everything looking good if you're in this 96 machine here this week. But before we move on to Auto Club next week, who you got to thank here tonight, Austin?
Tyler Murray with Team Resigns and Travis Anderson with the TJ's team sponsor. They've been on the car for probably 2 or 3 seasons here in SRN and many other leagues. So hopefully we can get them into that championship 5 and do it out there.
All right. Well, best of luck and keep it going, man. Peaking at the right time here this season. See you out in Fontana. Have a good night, bud.
All right, see you guys.
So that's our winner. Austin Reedy starting to make that a familiar spot there in victory lane. And speaking from experience, Brandon, it's not bad.
I'll take your word for it. But no, I mean, Austin Reedy now 4
I just
wins.
sounded like a total jerk to you, by the way. we're cool. I do this to him all the time.
Yeah, no, this is all normal here. But yeah, 4th win of the season, 2 in a row. I think if you're looking for who might be the hottest driver in the league right now, you got to be looking at that 96, and that's a scary thought for everybody as we get down to these final 2 races and 2 styles of racetracks that he typically does pretty well on. I think all eyes are on that 96 and Austin Reedy.
Yeah, and all eyes going to be on next week as well. So definitely make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that bell so you know exactly when we go live. These boys are going to be out at Auto Club for their final race, the Last Chance 160 there on March 30th. Same time, same place right here on Speed Racing Network. But the next race in line for us here on the schedule going to be the Cup Series boys. They're going to wrap up their round of 10 out at Homestead. So that is going to be a big race for them, 120 laps. And, well, that is just a plain old tight. You can really throw a name in a hat at this point and pull one out to determine who's going to be the final 5 in those guys. So it's heating up here on Speed Racing Network.
It certainly is. And, I mean, we saw how close everything was here. Tonight, we're seeing how close everything is, not only in the Xfinity side, but also on the Cup and the Truck side on these point standings. Everything's still very much up for grabs when it comes to those final 5 spots, maybe even more than that. Who knows? Maybe we see a tie or two find their way, make it a championship 6, and really throw off all our graphic plans and all the terms that we were planning to use. But, you know, maybe we see that happen. But either way, going to be a great and intense week of racing next week.
Yep, so definitely come on back. But that's going to do it for us here tonight. For myself, Brandon Domain, Sean Griffith, Jason Tripp, and everybody else behind the scenes, we wish you guys a good night and go faster.